Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone 14 and compare it against the iPhone 12 and see how both these phones hold up in the middle part or just in general in 2023. So the iPhone 14's been out for almost a year. It's been about like 10 months now. The iPhone 12 has been out for almost 3 years now, which is pretty crazy. So, some crazy stuff going on here. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off side by side, I would be curious to see if you could even tell which one is which. The iPhone 12 is on the left, and you can tell that because the notch is a little bit tiny bit bigger. So with the iPhone 12, this specific phone, like I said before, came out in 2020. It was a pretty interesting device from Apple. I think it was a pretty decent change, but there were also a lot of similarities to the iPhone 11 as well. On the front of this phone, you're getting a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's a decent panel. There's definitely not a lot to complain about here, and I definitely do think it's still a pretty decent panel. It's 60 Hz. The iPhone 14 is also 60 Hz, so not a big deal. Pretty thin amount of bezels. It's a flat-sided phone as well, so it kind of feels a little bit more modern. And I do think this is a pretty good-looking phone. For it being, 3 years old, it still looks pretty modern. With the iPhone 14, I definitely do think this is almost the same exact looking phone as the iPhone 12. Like Apple basically just made almost the same exact phone over and over again. There's some key differences. One though, this thing does have a smaller notch a little bit. So the notch is a tiny bit smaller. It's definitely not a big reason to even upgrade to this phone, but it's a little bit smaller, so that's nice. The panel also gets a little bit brighter, so that's also something that's pretty nice here. You are able to go ahead and get a little bit of a brighter display, which is nice. You're still maintaining the flat side, and there's, again, not a lot of differences, but still kind of a nice thing you have going on with this specific phone. Now on the sides, like I mentioned, you are getting basically flat sides on both, very good looking, not too many differences. And even from the side here, look how similar these phones are. Now the other thing is that with the SIM card, is that, the iPhone 14 doesn't have a SIM card slot anymore. The iPhone 12 does. So that's something that's kind of nice there. You're getting a lightning port at the bottom of both these phones, nothing really at the top. And on the back, you're getting a little bit of a different styling back on both as well. So with the iPhone 14, you're getting this, they're both getting dual camera setups, but the iPhone 14 is a diagonal camera setup, where the iPhone 12 is a stacked camera. Definitely have their pros and cons, but I definitely do think the iPhone 14's camera is actually a noticeable difference here than the iPhone 12. So cameras, are good, whatever. MagSafe capability between both, and debuted on the iPhone 12, but it's still here on the iPhone 14. Wireless charging on both as well. IP certification on both. And definitely some good stuff. There's definitely some overlap, but there's definitely some differences too, like I mentioned, throughout the body, but there's definitely way more similarities when it comes down to it. So in terms of that kind of covers it up there too. Now, in terms of software and longevity, this is the one area on both these phones that's always going to be better on the latest generation, or it has a higher likelihood of being better. Now, between both, the iPhone 14 is going to last longer. There's no question about it. It's going to be a longer lasting phone. That's just what's going to happen. But I still think the iPhone 12 is going to be here for many more years. The iPhone XR is still supported. That's a 2018 phone. And the iPhone 12 is still a very good supported phone from that specific perspective. So you're still going to be getting software support on this phone for many years to come. I would probably say you're getting another 3 versions of iOS. So this thing could probably end up ending around iOS 19 or iOS 20. So we are still in a very good spot with this device. But the thing with the iPhone 14, like I mentioned, before, is that you're still getting a phone that's, this thing just came out. It just got its first beta of its next phone. So I definitely do think this thing is a really good phone for its software, but the iPhone 12 is still, doing well too. Now let's go and do a speed comparison. The iPhone 14 has that Apple A15 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 12 has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 4 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, so let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. The iPhone 12 is here, iPhone 14 is here. Hopping out of this one, music, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I don't know why the iPhone 14 didn't open up there. Very weird. Hopping out of these two. Let's go to their app stores, 3, 2, 1. Okay, a little bit of a difference there too. So many weird pop-ups on both. I'm not really too sure what that's about. Scrolling through, you can kind of see kind of about the same thing, not a big difference here. We got to hear clock, 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing too. Not a big difference. Hopping out of here. We do have some of these third-party apps. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. I'm hoping there's no random pop-ups or anything that happened, but knowing us, there's always going to be something like that that happens. And you can see the iPhone 14 is faster here. They both were downloading content. They both were going through the same panels. There were different types of panels though, so you can kind of see what would happen there. But I definitely do think the iPhone 14 was probably the faster one there, hopping out of these two. Let's go and load up. We can try Genshin Impact. That's a massive game. 3, 2, 1. Now I think I loaded up Genshin Impact earlier on the iPhone 14, so there's a chance if it's way faster here, which is not like way faster, but it is noticeably faster, so maybe that doesn't really have too much to do with it. And you can see the iPhone 14 did end up getting into it quite a bit faster than the iPhone 12. So kind of a little thing to keep in mind in the back of your head here too for those specific devices. Now we do have some other ones, so let's go and see what other ones we have. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. Okay, iPhone 14 I think was faster. Thank you, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 14 again is the faster one. iPhone 12 slightly slower. Seems like there's a little bit more glitching going on with the iPhone 12 as well. I think I had those two. Let's go and try Snake vs. Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And iPhone 14, I think slightly faster. Stack. 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone 14 I think is the faster one there too. The iPhone 12 a little tiny bit slower. And we can try something like Twitter. 3, 2, 1. And yeah, the iPhone 14 was going to be faster. So when it comes down to what I'll definitely tell you is between both, I definitely do think the iPhone 14 is the faster phone here. I think the iPhone 12 still did a really good job, but the iPhone 14 I think was clearly the faster one almost every single time. So that kind of covers it up there. In terms of the camera side of things, like I mentioned, dual camera setups on both. So you're getting wide and ultra wide cameras, and that is something that's really nice between both. Having that type of capability of having zooming in, zooming out capabilities is nice. Lots of overlap between these two cameras too. Same types of sensors, 4K at 60 on the front and the back. So lots of overlap, but definitely some good stuff going on between both lenses too. Like there are definitely more pros than cons here. With the iPhone 12, I felt like this camera was good and it was great at the time, but it really wasn't that big of a difference coming from the iPhone 11. I think it was almost kind of the same exact thing. You're getting photo mode, video mode, slow mode, time lapse. You're getting portrait mode and panorama mode as well. So lots of overlap between lots of different features, which is nice. But I do think going from an iPhone 12 to an iPhone 14 is actually a pretty big jump. You're getting more features and you're actually getting a noticeably better camera setup, which is actually really nice. So with the iPhone 14, this is, like I said, I think the better camera when it comes down to it. It's overall giving you just better experience and you're getting more features. So if we go and hop into here, what you can see is that within our photo mode, you have 0.5x zoom. So you have 0.5x zoom zooming out, and you have 5x zoom zooming in too, which is really nice. You have video mode, and you have cinematic mode as well. So cinematic mode is the bigger jump here, which is really nice. Slow mode, time lapse, you're getting photo, portrait mode, panorama mode. So lots of overlap and lots of really good stuff here, which is really nice, but the camera is definitely better on the iPhone 14. And that's kind of how it's sum up the whole entire video. I mean, I feel like the iPhone 14 is overall the better phone. You're getting better camera, you're getting better build quality, you're getting just better experience, you're just getting a faster phone. This is the phone that's basically better in every single area. There's not really an area where I look at the iPhone 12 as being the better phone. So that's where I kind of see the iPhone 14 at. I think the iPhone 12, I think sits in a really decent spot too. Like if you want a decent phone for the price, this is not a bad option. I think this one is still pretty decent. But I think the iPhone 14 clearly is the better one here. But there's a phone in between these that I would also recommend, which is the iPhone 13. That is a really good phone for the price, and I'd probably recommend buying that one over these two because it is significantly cheaper than the iPhone 14. So that kind of covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.